Today, I'm going to share with you 3 progressively more
Welcome everybody to the gray area, where we discuss the scary, the weird, and the mysterious. Now here, we're going to dive into 3 videos with disturbing backstories. I don't know what these videos about, but they're supposed to be good. We're going to give a shout out to Mr. Baldwin. He always doing good content. Hit him up, like and subscribe his channel too, as well as mine. Alright, let's get on into it, you guys.
stories, and at the end of each of them, I'm going to share with you the video that is famously associated with them. But before I get into today's stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right channel, because that's all I do, and I upload 3, 4, even 5 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please offer to make the like button a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but employ a 6-to-1 peanut butter to jelly ratio. Also, please subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories.
Safe neighborhood.
30-year-old mother of 2, Lisa McKenzie, lived in what she called a safe neighborhood in Bridgend, Wales. One day, when she was cleaning up her kids' toys in her backyard, she noticed something strange about her back door. She thought maybe one of her kids had taken paint and slapped it across the back door, or perhaps it was even mud. But then when she walked up to the door itself, she could tell that there were 2 very deep gouges in the door right next to the locking mechanism. Also, the key portion of the lock had loads of scratches all over it. Initially, she thought maybe these have been here the whole time and I just haven't noticed them until right now. But when she looked at the 2 gouge marks in the door, they looked fresh. Since she did not own a dog and didn't know
you gonna notice something like that
area that might come into her property that could have scratched up the door, she figures, okay, it's got to be my kids. So she calls her kids outside and she points at the marks on the door, and the kids swear they didn't do it. And they say, I don't remember ever seeing that. That's new. At this point, Lisa has this sinking feeling that someone must have tried to break into our house. But she doesn't want to scare her kids, so she tells them to go back in the house. They go inside and she's standing in front of the door and she's just looking at the marks thinking like, what do I do? And she notices in the bushes right next to the door, there's something silver sitting in the bush. She bent down and picked up a wire that she immediately recognized as a windshield wiper insert, because she had recently had to replace her windshield wipers because one of the inserts was missing. She also noticed this wire that was very rigid had been bent up at the end like a hook. And it was at this point that Lisa went from maybe someone's trying to break in to definitely someone just tried to break in. They're using the wire from my windshield to try to defeat the lock. Lisa didn't make much money, but with the money she did have, she went out and got the most expensive, sophisticated surveillance camera that she could put on the back of her house to monitor that back door. And in addition to the camera, starting that night, Lisa began compulsively checking every door, every lock, every window, everything that could secure the house. She would check 3, 4, 5
Hope you went and got a banger
every single night. And then the next morning, she would get up and she would review the footage from the night before. And for the next several weeks, no one tried to break into her house. There was no suspicious activity recorded on the camera. Everything was normal. Until Monday, July 13th, when she woke up and noticed her back gate, not her door, but the gate leading into her yard, was slightly open. Now, because she was obsessively checking every door, every window, every lock, that included that gate. Meaning the night before, she had triple checked that that gate was shut and locked. So for it to be open right now meant something had happened the night before. And so without even going outside, she goes right to her security camera footage, and she would say that what she saw made her physically ill. Earlier that morning at 1:15 a.m., an unknown man wearing a rain jacket and gloves walks up to the back of their house and puts his hands and his face right up against the window and starts looking in the window. And then he steps back, pulls a flashlight out, and starts looking in the kitchen with his flashlight. He's brazenly looking in the house. And at some point, he puts the flashlight down and looks up and clearly notices the camera that she has installed. He looks at it for a minute and then just kind of shrugs and goes right back to shining his light into the kitchen before going around to the door itself and trying the door and fidgeting with the door to open it.
This dude was on a mission.
The window, he tries to open the window, it's locked, and he would
if he got enough, he was gonna hurt y'all.
Trying trying to open all of the windows until walking around to the back side of the house where there wasn't a camera. And then when he couldn't open any of the windows or doors because Lisa was diligent about locking everything, he must have just given up and left. Lisa's horrified. She gets in touch with police. She shows them the footage, but unfortunately, his face was kind of obscured in the video, and so they were never able to identify him. Here are the highlights from Lisa's security footage.
Look at this dude. They see the good camera. They don't even care. Still looking in there.
I never felt so close to the possibility of disclosure. The Nephilim, the giants, you can't make up.
On September 8th, 2017, 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins, along with her 3 friends, were driving to the Crown Plaza Hotel in Chicago, Illinois. It was a Friday night, and the girls had been invited to a big birthday party on the 9th floor of the hotel. They arrived at the hotel around 11 p.m., and by the time they got up to room 926, the room was packed with their friends, the music was loud, and the drinks were flowing. A few hours into the party, a witness would tell police that when they went up to give Kenneka a hug, she could barely stand, she was so intoxicated. Another witness said when everybody was up, dancing and having a great time, Kenneka was sitting on the side of the room, apparently too drunk to even stand up. At about 3 a.m., Kenneka and the 3 friends she had showed up with decided it was time to leave the party and head home. So they made their way to the hall, security cameras would pick them up in the hall, they go down to the lobby, and that's when Kenneka realizes she doesn't have her car keys or her phone. Her friends, who were not nearly as intoxicated as Kenneka, told her to stay in the lobby. They would go back up to the hotel room and look for her things. Her friends go back upstairs, they search the room for a few minutes, and they finally find her purse that had her cell phone and her keys in it. They go back down to the lobby, and Kenneka's not there. Now, they assumed she must have already left the hotel and was waiting at the car for them, but when they got to the car, she wasn't there. So they all pile into the car, and they call Kenneka's mother, and they say, hey, we just left this party, and I think everything's fine.
Y'all left her and she was drunk like that? Y'all just left her?
And they explained that they had left the party and she'd lost them, and that she was down in the lobby, and now she wasn't here anymore. And Kenneka's mom wanted to know, were you guys drinking? And it was clear the friends were a little bit cagey about it, and they said, oh, no, maybe a drink or two, but I'm sure she's fine. Everything's just fine. And Kenneka's mom just felt like there's something off here. It's the middle of the night. You don't know where my daughter is. And so she said she was coming to the hotel and she was going to find Kenneka. Kenneka's mom arrives at the hotel around 5 a.m. And the first thing she does is she goes in and talks to the front desk manager and says, hey, my daughter was here. They were having a party up on the 9th floor and her friends can't find her. I'm sure she's fine, but would you mind using the security footage to show us where she went? Because we don't know if she left the hotel or if she's still here. Would you mind showing us the footage? And the hotel was totally unhelpful. They were like, well, we can't show it to you unless there's an official missing person report.